Hi, welcome to Tom Talk Shop. Today I'm going to be demonstrating my detailed method to sharpen a rip saw, and this is kind of an addendum to our Rubo saw build, but it works for any rip saw that's a push saw, and it also involves the setting and sharpening. So before we get going, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you. Okay, I've got my saw here, and I've got my blade, and I've got a board, and any board will work, that I just used to set the blade on it, and a piece of scrap is best. And the harder the wood, the less saw set will be imparted in the saw blade. We'll get to that as we work along. In this case, I'm using a piece of white pine because I want a really aggressive set. I use this for fast, rough sawing, and I just want to get the job done. Plus, right now the blade is pulling really hard to one side, so the set needs to be done. I've got diamond files of various sizes, or they're triangle files. This is probably the one I'll be using today on this blade. It's a 5/2 per inch. This is my sets. I'll be using the larger one most likely. And any 10 ounce or so peening hammer will work, whatever you're comfortable with. A marker, just to keep track of what you're doing, and two chalk blocks, unless you've got a special sharpening vise, which I don't have. This goes in my vise to hold the saw blade in place, to keep it from flapping back and forth as I'm filing it. And then let's get started. Okay, so I've already marked here where I'm going to be starting, and then that allows me to kind of keep track of every other one. Also, when you're doing this, maybe add in a pair of really strong reading glasses if you're past a certain age like I am. And I just go along and I just give every other one a good tap. As I go, it'll typically leave a little bit of a mark on the tooth. You want to kind of angle the drift in just a little bit so that you're not digging into the tooth too much. Just take your time. Make sure you don't hit when you're not supposed to. Usually, except for when I do something like that, one will just do the trick. I'll just continue on like this with every one of them, and then when I'm done with this side, I'll flip it over and then rinse and repeat on the other side, making sure that I only do the even or the odd ones going the correct direction.
And here's just a close-up of that process, so you can see he's doing every other tooth and moving along the whole entire blade. And when you get done with this side, just simply flip the blade over and then mark a few of the every other ones that are now going to be set in the opposite direction.
Okay, so I've got what I call chalk blocks. I'm not sure that's the correct term for it, and I think I've got my vise set up just about right for it. And we'll take a picture too if you can't see it in the video. I set the blade so that the teeth are just, the bottom of the gullet is just proud of the block. Then I hold it together, I set it in the vise, and I clamp it down like so. And in this case, it's a rip blade, so I don't have to really sharpen an alternating side. I can just do each one. We're going to do these at a 0-degree angle, which is a straight across, and we're going to try to get the cutting face of the gullet as straight up and down as possible, or even having a bit of a forward rake, though that might be a little too aggressive. This is a fairly new saw blade, and it's not quite gotten there yet. So I just take cuts until the gullet is I can see that it's nice and shiny from the file. And the back of the next tooth has been completely cleaned off. Every couple of cuts, I give the file a twist so that I'm wearing my file a bit more evenly. Fortunately, this file's getting out near the end of its life. Let's see, one more on that one. Yeah, that one looks good. They're getting a real point to it now, and I just have to continue this on all the way down. Unlike a crosscut blade, I can do everything from one side. It's just a matter of getting that gullet where it's as close to up and down as possible. All right. Some of these teeth are kind of swept back a little too much. By the time you get some of them dressed in the way you want them, they might be a little short, but that I don't worry about that too much. It usually comes out in the wash. Like I said, this blade is a little bit new. It's only been sharpened a couple times. It doesn't really gotten the profile wore into it yet. After they've been sharpened 5-6 times, they get very distinct and they really cut a lot better. Okay, I've got the blade all sharp now and set, of course, and I just want to go kind of summarize what I've just done. So I've pushed each teeth out and set it at a particular angle that's fairly uniform. And we're not looking for absolute perfection here. I mean, some people drive themselves nuts doing that. I do not. And then, since this is going to be used in rip, I'm sharpening it at a 0-degree angle across, and I don't even bother going opposite directions. I just do all the teeth the same. And Sukey will put the drawing up if you're not familiar with that. Some of the teeth sometimes get a little funky. There's one there which you probably can't see. Don't worry about that. It's just wear and tear on the blade. It'll cut just fine, I'm sure. If it doesn't, I'll have to tune it up a little bit. But that's pretty much it, and I'll put it in the frame, and we'll tighten it up, and we'll make a quick cut to make sure it works good.